This game was recommended by Jugalhões de Força. If you've got a recommendation, let me know in the comments and I'll get to it as soon as I can. Ronin Blade, or Soul of the Samurai, is an action sword-fighting game with a hint of Resident Evil by Konami for the original PlayStation. In this game, you can choose between one of two characters: Kotaro, a samurai with no lord, and Lin, a female ninja in the service of the shogun. Both characters have different playstyles and feature completely different levels and storylines which intertwine during the final acts. Though Kotaro doesn't have much of a story, as it often feels like he was dropped into the game at the last minute. But maybe that's just me. Gameplay-wise, it handles like a sword-fighting Resident Evil. So yeah, tank controls are in full effect here. But instead of guns to defend yourself, you'll have to deal with melee weapons instead. This may sound like a terrible fighting system, and to be honest, yeah, it's not particularly great, but there was some effort put into it. Both characters are slow to move and react, forcing you to learn how to chain attacks. You have to pay attention to their motions and even the weapon's weight in order to chain different strikes. Now granted, there's only one attack button, but every character will perform different attacks depending on the motions and direction you're pressing. The game is divided into days, which basically act as levels, and they're all pretty linear. Some levels are a bit more open and allow you to explore optional areas, but your only reward for doing this is finding healing items and similar gear. Kotaro is the slowest character, but he causes more damage and his attacks are easier to chain. Lin, on the other hand, is faster, easier to dodge enemy attacks, and can use items like shurikens and bombs. The bombs are especially useful for clearing out enemies you often struggle with. Now, I have mentioned the game draws inspiration from Resident Evil, and I don't mean just the tank controls. The backgrounds are also pre-rendered as you go from one screen to the next. And though most levels boil down to just walk straight ahead and kill everything, you do occasionally need to solve light puzzles, which really only amount to finding keys, knowing where to use them, and knowing what they unlock. The levels are also really small, and you can even bring up a map so you'll never get lost. Along the way, you'll pick up healing items, antidotes, new weapons, and in Lin's case, secondary weapons which can all be equipped from your inventory. Your initial weapons are always the slowest, but as you progress through the game, your new weapons will be faster and cause more damage, which does help with the pacing of the game. The characters will also level up as they kill enemies. This will unlock special attacks. To perform these special attacks, you need to press different input combinations, but they're usually easy to pull off. Though they do consume mana, and you gain mana by performing regular attacks. Now, I'm guessing most of you never even heard of this game, and there's a good reason for that. This game isn't very good. Onimusha, this is not. For one thing, the hit detection is very iffy. You'll often see your sword clip through enemies and they won't take any damage because either you or they are not in the right position. You're also prone to some very cheap hits because you walked off the edge of the screen and the new enemy spawned right on top of you. Yes, the enemies spawn as you travel from one screen to the next and you can't escape unless you've cleared that screen from all enemies. Then there's the fact that this game is just so repetitive. Lin's campaign is incredibly easy. I took out every enemy, including the bosses, by blocking and counterattacking, and using the occasional bombs on harder enemies. Kotaro is a bit more difficult due to some pretty cheap boss fights, but his campaign doesn't require much skill either. Not only that, but the game is really short. You can finish both campaigns in about 6 or 7 hours, and this is me taking my time to explore the game. And I'm pretty sure the developers at Konami knew the game was short, because in order to get the real ending, you need to beat the game again with both characters. Well, screw that, I ain't doing that. I was already bored out of my mind towards the end. I'm not doing this again. So yeah, this game isn't very good, though there were some good ideas behind it, but they're not very well implemented. The combat has depth, but you'll rarely ever feel the need to learn it. The game is short, the enemies are all easy to kill, and there's an abundance of healing items if you're willing to venture off the main path. The story, while not drawn out, isn't well developed either, amounting to little more than your average samurai story we've seen in countless games and anime. I will say this though, I chose Lin on my first playthrough, and at first you only fight samurai instead of zombies and demons. And the first zombie reveal actually caught me by surprise, as I didn't see it coming. Honestly, that surprise reveal was easily the best part of the game. Unfortunately, if you play as Kotaro, the game spoils the supernatural elements ahead of time, so you don't even get that. If you're looking to buy this game, you can get it for a cheap price off eBay, but honestly, I wouldn't recommend it. Hey everyone, thank you for watching St1ka's Retro Corner. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe for a new video every Thursday. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. Bye!